Hello everyone, welcome back to Jacqs Scraps. Thank you for joining me today. I am Jackie and it is What a Card Wednesday. Today we are using Creative Stamping issue 57 and I've been waiting and waiting to use this because I love the stamp set that came with it. This is the stamp set. Love it. It is gorgeous. I hope you were able to get it when it was out and available. It might still be available online if you check my link below. So what I thought we would do with that today is create a cute koala card, and this is what it looks like. So today we're going to be learning about masking. You may already know about that, but that's the type of technique that is used in making this card. So let's get started. Things we're going to do is cut out a white piece of cardstock, and it is 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. We're going to place our paper on our stamping pad or whatever you have, your desk, whatever, and we are going to stamp the koala. So place this on your card wherever you'd like it. And there's our little koala. Now at this point, what you can do to create the mask is use a Post-it note. Place the Post-it over the koala, stamp it again, and then you'll cut that out and it will be your mask. Or you could also use a piece of paper, copy paper here, stamp it again, and then use washi tape when you want to do the masking. Okay, so we're just going to cut this out. It's just going to be a mask. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, so I put the mask on. I put some washi tape around, and if you'll notice, it's around the spots where we won't be putting any leaves. So, and again, you can put your leaves wherever you like, but that creates the mask. See, if I lift this up, the branch is there. So from the stamp set, we use the koala, and then we'll be using this leaf right here. I already have it pulled off, and then we'll be using this your koala tea friend. So the inks I've been using is Ranger Archival ink Jet Black, and I'm going to try this Library Green, and then I also have this Momenta New Sprout. Thought that might work, maybe doing a variation of colors. So let's give that a go. Let's first decide how we want this. Let's put a little... Let's see, how does that look? Yeah. Let's put a little bit this way. So I'm only going to be inking up this area here, not the whole thing. Now remember, when we push down, it's going on the mask and not the one on the cardstock. That looks like it got on the cardstock. All right, let's try another one. Let's see. Okay, let's see. So I'm just picking random spots, and again, not inking all of it at the same time. Getting second generation stamping down here. I think it needs something there for sure. So let's turn this around. Okay, so there's what we have. Let's remove our mask and see what we get. So there's what it looks like. Let's go ahead and add our saying onto the card. Find a good placement for it. So this is what it looks like with the sentiment and koala stamped on there. Next we will put our mask down and stamp over that. Now I've used the same mask a couple times, so that's why you already see some green on it. Now another thing, if there's a particular area you don't want to get any ink on, you might want to cover that up as well. So here's an example. If I'm wanting the leaves to be here, I could put this over the area I don't want anything on. Okay. So then when I remove this, you have a nice clean spot. So here again, I don't want anything down below. And I know we have the mask on it, but when I practiced this, it still kind of got down here just because there was ink on the stamp. So let's give that a go. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Now for the next part, what you can do is use your alcohol markers or pencils or whatever you like, watercolor, and color in the koala and the branch. What I have done, I used a piece of Tim Holtz Ranger Distress Collection paper. It says it's antique linen. And I stamped the koala out on that. And then I actually used my pencils because this paper has texture. I thought that would be really cool because it would like mirror the fur. So I stamped and then just used some pencils on it rather than, well, I did use some markers. I'll take that back. I used some pencil and then some marker on it to just give it a little bit more color because I like the color that it is. And I was thinking about just gluing that over, you know, the image we have there. It also gives it a little bit of dimension. Yeah, that looks cute. Okay, so I'm going to glue this down. I'll be right back. So on the example, it has a glitter heart there. What I'm going to do is use my Maggie Holmes sticker book. It has hearts in it that are gold, and I place that right below the word koala. Have this all glued on, and I cut a base for the card that is 8 11/16 by 5 5/8. I wanted to give it about 1/8 of an inch border all the way around the base of the card because I thought it made the leaves pop, and that's why I'm using the green. Okay, so here is our card all together. And on the inside, I added this decorative piece. I had picked this up from the upcycle shop. I liked the way that it has the stitching on there and thought that went really well. So there's our koala card. So I have a little bit more time, so why don't we try to do this otter card? I think it is really cute, and what we will do is use these 3 stamps from the set included: the otter, the grass, and there's no otter like you. For the otter card, we are going to cut a white piece of cardstock down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. This time I'm going to go ahead and add the sentiment first. So we will align that on our stamp plate or whatever you're using. Just make sure you line it up where you like it. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and line up some of the other items, and we're going to be doing the grass here as well, like that. So let's go ahead and line that up also. I'm using jet black and library green. Okay, our sentiment came out really good. And then we'll take it, move it over, plan another spot for it. Now for the otter stamp, I'm going to take it and stamp it onto this colored cardstock here. You can take another piece of white cardstock and stamp it on that as well, but we will be cutting out the otter, so however you'd like to do it. So I'm going to use the color cardstock, but you can certainly take the stamp and stamp it out on a different piece of white cardstock to cut out, because we will be layering it right here. Okay. Perfect. Okay, now what we're going to do is cut this out and then maybe add some additional colors using your alcohol markers or whatever you like. Okay, before I fussy cut the otter out, I wanted to mention that we will be putting this on foam to give it some dimension on the card base. So I'm just going to use the Dollar Tree foam sheet. I've glued that on the back of the otter, and I'm just going to fussy cut this out while the two are glued together to save some time. Okay, got the otter all cut out. I added a little coloring to it And I did fussy cut, or I actually used my Cricut to cut out a little heart, glittered heart. Because what we're going to do next is cut a little space right where his hand is, and then the heart will slip down in there like he's holding it. So I'm using my Singer cutter here, and I'm going to cut like right above his finger there. Okay. Now, if you didn't want to cut into it, another thing you could do is really just cut off part of the heart, and it will still look like it's down in his hand. Oh my gosh, look how cute that is. All right, so I'm going to glue that down. So I don't know if you saw, I really just made the cut. It's right here. Actually went all the way through. And I'm going to slip the heart into that hole and glue this down. And then it looks like he's holding it. Another way to do this would be just to, if you didn't want to cut the hole, just cut a little bit of the heart off at the end and then add it, and it would look like he's holding it as well. Oop, a little too much glue. So that's how he looks. How cute is that? Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is add him to our card. And it really helped to glue the foam on before fussy cutting. So really just place him wherever you like. I'm going to put him in the middle here. So this is the top of our card. All I'm going to do next is just add it to the base. I will probably use that great green color again, and maybe add something to the middle of it for the sentiment area. Really cute. So I've mounted the top card onto the base using Fabri-Tac, only so I could have some wiggle room to move it around. And the measurements of the card base is 11 3/16 by 4 3/8. You will score that at 5 5/8. And on the inside, I've just added another one of those decorative labels there to mirror this one. I really love the simplicity of creating these cards. After I got the otter and koala cards completed, I went a little crazy in a couple ways. One, some of the film that I took ended up being blurry, so I couldn't use it. I'm thinking I might have to get a different type of camera. My iPhone continues to go off of auto focus even though I've turned it off, and that's cumbersome. And then secondly, I just ended up wanting to create a card for all of the animals in the collection that was included in the magazine set. And if you remember, this is it. It has elephants, giraffes, koala, sloth, llama, and the otter. So this is what I came up with in the end, because after I had all the cards, well, I needed something to put them all together with, right? So I created this cute little envelope box using my envelope punch board, and I will show you how I did that in case you've never made one on there before. And I used some burlap lace ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree. I actually added 2 Velcro to it, so that in case you want to unwrap it, you can, but it simply slips right off of the boxed envelope. And then I added this cute little bow that I found at Hobby Lobby. I haven't even hauled that yet to share with you. But I love the way this turned out. I love this paper. It's DCWV. I will have all the information linked down below. But let's go in so I can show you what I've created. So inside I have cards and envelopes. For the envelopes, I made them all the same. I created this label and added that, so they all look the same. Now, because the measurements of the card were not the standard, I had to establish my own measurements for this box for the envelopes, and I will have those measurements down below in case you have been following along. But I will also give you the standard measurements for the box envelope, which that's the one I'm going to share with you. Okay, so here are the cards. I, again, just love the simplicity of these cards, so I just kept going. This is the Let's Go on an Adventure giraffe card. I applied hearts to all of the cards to keep them kind of a consistent theme. And then this one has grass, but some of them are different. On the inside of each card, I added one of these decorative labels here. Here is the elephant one. It says age is irrelevant. Love that. Love this tree scenery and the birds. And I added the glitter red heart there on his little bumpus, or her bumpus. And then when you open it up again, it has that. And I did 3 portrait, 3 landscape, just to have some, again, a theme going on with how I'm doing it. Here's the sloth hanging in there. I gave him a little green heart. These were easy to make once you figured out how you wanted everything. I practiced a couple times on how I wanted to do the grass or the scenery behind it. This llama says, another birthday, no problema. And again on the inside, there's no otter like you. He's the one we put on foam tape, or backed with foam. I should have probably done that with some other ones, but because I use such thick paper, it almost looks dimensional anyway, so I'm okay with that. He's super cute. And again, and then the last one you've seen, you're a quality friend. So those are all the cards in this great card set. I am really happy with how this turned out. I hope you get some ideas to create with them. And then this just slips right on. Oops, I got this the wrong way. This burlap ribbon has the wires on the edges, so it actually helps it keep the form. So there's that. So the last thing I wanted to share with you was how to create a box envelope using your envelope punch board. And we will be creating the A2 card size box. It's basically the standard for a 4 3/8 by 5 3/4 card size. If I'm not mistaken. If I am, I'll put that on the screen. Okay, so first of all, you want to take your cardstock, and I would recommend using a heavyweight cardstock for the box, and you're going to cut it down to 9 by 9. Put it in your punch board, and at 3 1/2 here, we are going to punch, and then we're going to use this score line here to create the line. Now this paper, it will be longer than the board itself, but it'll be okay. Now at this point, you don't rotate it. What you do is slide it down to 4 1/2. You punch and then score. Okay, Now what you do is take your paper and rotate it and follow the instructions like normal. We're going to go to this first score line here and then to the second one. So let's line this up with the first score line, punch, and score. Scoot it up or over to the next score line that we created here, punch, and score, and rotate. Okay? So that's how you do the whole thing to get the score marks in place. And then when you're done, it will look like this. Now the next thing we want to do is score all our lines. Now I'm kind of using directional paper, but it's easier if you use non-directional paper. And one more thing before we continue. The punch board has the feature where you can round the corners, so I always like to do that. Gives you a nice rounded edge, at least on the top and bottom. And actually I've been doing the sides as well. Compulsion, I guess. Okay, so darn it, I was hoping the words would all fit on the front, but it doesn't, but that's okay. So now that we have everything scored, you will need to figure out what is your top and what is your bottom. And for this particular one, this will be my top. We're going to cut out these little squares here. So where this line is and this line, we're going to cut this out all the way, and the same over here. Okay? Okay, so this is what it looks like then when you get those cut out. For the bottom of our box, this part down here, what we want to do is cut, if it's this way, we want to cut this line and this line, okay? The next step is to push these two tabs in and add glue or tape adhesive to the back side. Now when I created them for this project, I used glue. Once we have our adhesive on there, we want to fold this up, fold the side in. So here's how it looks. This is pushed in, fold it up, and push this up to create a nice even corner, and then push these sides together to adhere that together. Okay, hope that made sense. Let's do this one over here. Here's the bottom. Push this side up, push our side in, make sure everything's even there, and push on the tape that's down in here. Sometimes it's easier to push these back so I can show you. So we're pushing this down on the side to adhere that. Okay, next we want to fold our two sides in, our other side up. Now, an easy way to make sure that the sides are even, because when you fold this over, we want it to have a nice seal where it's all even like that. Okay. It might be easier to take one of your envelopes or your cards to put it into the box to help with that alignment. And then we also need to add adhesive here. Liquid adhesive on these sides until you get everything aligned. Unless you feel very confident you're going to get it the first time around, because you know that score tape isn't very forgiving. So once you have it aligned, you push these together. So then you can check it by closing the lid. Now see, on this one, this is bigger, so I really can't. So let's take that out. And yes, it lined up good. So let's push those together. You can put it down on the table, use our score or our bone folder, and go in and press down on the adhesive. So this makes our little envelope box. Really cute. I love this design. And I'll probably be making more of these. So that's it for today, everyone. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.